My granny, at the age of 43, became an unexpected widow. And what was she going to do? She had been married for almost a quarter of a century. Well, my mama and my daddy moved back home with her. Daddy was her son to stay with her while she found her way. And in a little over a year, I came along. And the four of us lived at the foot of a mountain in North Carolina in a little white house. Well, when Granny was growing up, she was always interested in geography at school. And she had seen in a magazine the largest corn palace in the world. And she found that very curious. And she never got to travel. So after Grandpa died, she took a job at the local diner as a waitress, and she went to the local Five and Dime and bought a little blue suitcase and took to traveling. The problem was she wouldn't fly, she wouldn't sail, she wouldn't ride a train, she wouldn't drive herself on a long trip. She was landlocked. So what was she going to do? Her preferred method of travel was a Greyhound bus. In her words, she just loved to feel that bus roll on. Well, she was approaching 50 and I was approaching 7, and I can remember riding with her and Daddy to a neighboring town where a Greyhound would be waiting under a streetlight in the early morning dark with its compartment flaps up, just waiting for her little blue suitcase. And they'd put the suitcase in, and Granny would get on, and she would be off on another adventure, and I would be going home waiting for all the postcards that she would be mailing me. Her little blue suitcase soon became covered with stickers from all the states that she traveled to, and she made it to almost all the 50 states on her waitress wages and to Canada, but never Hawaii. I guess that's the trouble with a Greyhound. Her goal was to take all her grandchildren on a trip. And she took my cousins the furthest, but she took me the most. She took me to my on my first trip to the beach, to Georgia to see a giant peach, to McAdenville, North Carolina to see the Christmas lights, and to PTL, short for Praise the Lord. I don't know if you remember that, but those sparkly TV evangelicals, uh, Jim and Tammy Faye Baker, if you don't remember them, look them up. And she took me there not because she supported them, but because they were something to see. And we did it all on a Greyhound bus. But the most important trip that I think my granny ever made on a Greyhound bus is when I was 27 and found myself in the northwest corner of Louisiana with my first and only baby that as a new mother I did not know what to do with. And Granny packed a bag in North Carolina and got on a Greyhound bus. And she rode it all the way to Shreveport to the back door of the tall petroleum building where I worked and was with me for one whole week. And she was a godsend. She held the baby, rocked the baby, bounced the baby, and fed me chocolate pie. And then it was time for her to go. And now I was putting my granny on another Greyhound bus, and she would be going home, and I would be the one out in the world sending her mail. And I followed that bus just as far as I could up I-20 till I came to the exit for my new home. And something happened. My heart, a large part of my heart, went on that bus with Granny. She might as well have packed it in her suitcase. And the rest of me went to my new home with my new family. Needless to say, about 6 months later, we were packing it up and heading to North Carolina, where my granny and a large part of my heart was residing. You know, tomorrow, Granny will be 99. Her last trip on a Greyhound, she went and saw the largest corn palace in the world in South Dakota. She lives alone, and she still loves to feel those wheels rolling on beneath her. So if you go ask her, she'll go for a ride with you. Happy birthday, Granny.